What's up, everyone? This is FP Sticks bringing you some Rose Cup practice battles here. Today I want to talk a little bit about Wigglytuff and why I think it is really going to be a very solid pick for the Rose Cup meta here. Wigglytuff has access to Charm, and that's one of its big selling points right there. Honestly, when you're using a Charmer, you don't really need to be as concerned about that Pokemon's charge moves because at best you're going to be getting to one charge move in whatever matchup you're going to be playing. But the reason why I like Wigglytuff a lot is because of its normal and fairy typing. The ghosts are kind of everywhere in this Rose Cup, and so by allowing Wigglytuff to have that normal typing, it just puts one more kind of added ghost resistance into your team. Like if you're going up against Sableye, that's an even more solid matchup for you. Obviously, Sableye is ghost and dark, so that's already a positive matchup for you. But having that normal type resistance to ghost attacks is so great because oftentimes the raw charm damage can just eat away at the ghost anyways. So we're going to be seeing some battles where I'm using Wigglytuff here. These first battles are against Jay's Fan 55. My team is very much under construction right now. Still not totally sold on what I'm going to run. I really like Medicham, I really like Sableye, and I really like Wigglytuff. But my Machamp that I have, its IVs are so bad. Like, so bad. Because this was a legacy back in the day, so it was a very old Pokemon, so when it traded, the IVs like went crazy high. So I don't actually know if I'm going to be running Machamp in the Rose Cup unless I can find a better IV Machamp. I've been liking Charizard a lot. Really been liking Probopass a lot as well. Wigglytuff has to look out for the tanks like Probopass and Steelix. But something interesting to note in that Steelix matchup, if they're running Dragon Tail on their Steelix, they can't go straight Earthquake and win. They actually have to land a successful Crunch Shield Bait, which is pretty crazy to think about. That's just how powerful the Charm damage is, because Wigglytuff is going to be resisting that Dragon Tail damage and the Crunch damage, so you're going to have to land the Earthquake, but you can't go straight Earthquake in that matchup. Wigglytuff also has access to Ice Beam, which is going to be hitting the Steelix for neutral damage, so the Steelix will have to shield that up. Pretty crazy to think about, because oftentimes you think of the tanks as just being totally hard walls to the Charmers, but that Steelix matchup is definitely something you need to be worried about. I think at this point in time I was running Psycho Cut on my Medicham, and that was only because I was also running Machamp. So I just wanted to have some different coverage there. I definitely think counter is the way to go now on Medicham. It just gives you so much more farm down scenarios. When you get that Medicham locked in a favorable matchup, like against one of the tanks, you can totally just rely on your raw counter damage to take it out. Wigglytuff is going to be an amazing response to all of the fighters. That's another really main reason to have Wigglytuff on your team. Now, one of the downsides to Wigglytuff's normal typing is the fact that you're going to be taking neutral damage from the fighters. However, as we kind of saw in the Fusion Cup especially, sometimes after you win the matchup, you don't want to have a lot of health remaining on your Pokemon, because this is going to allow your opponent to farm down that Pokemon even more. So I'm actually okay with the fact that Wigglytuff takes neutral damage from the fighters. I'm okay eating a dynamic punch because I'm still going to win out that scenario anyways, and then it's going to leave me with very little health. So if a tank comes in or if a fire type comes in, they won't be able to farm me down as much. Just something to consider there. So we're in a Charizard mirror match here. You definitely want to be able to land the Blast Burn, but I don't shield it up. I was expecting a shield bait, and that definitely hurt. So I'm going to shield this one up, probably just a Dragon Claw because I am in Dragon Claw range. And I'm going to get off my own Dragon Claw here. And it's just enough to take out the Charizard. Let's see what he brings in. Jace Fan is running Haunter as well. I'm assuming that's a Shadow Ball Haunter now that Shadow Ball is not Legacy anymore. Again, all my Haunters suck. Like, the IVs are really bad, so maybe if I get my hands on a better IV Haunter, I will be able to try it out. But when you have such glassy Pokemon like that, if your IVs are also really bad, their matchups are just nowhere near as good as they could be. So right there, I ate a Dynamic Punch from Medicham. Great example. But because our energy was a little bit off here, I'm actually going to let this go through. Ice Punch is enough to take me out. But the Wigglytuff did what I needed it to do. And he has Probopass in the back. So even though I'm down shields, this is very favorable for me. But I am running Psycho Cut still. So this is like kind of hilarious to watch. I have to totally rely on my Dynamic Punch damage here. And Jace Fan messaged me after this battle and was like, it took me so long to realize that you were running Psycho Cut on your Medicham, especially in this this matchup here. I should be shredding this Probopass if I was running counter. But because I was trying to be fancy with Psycho Cut, this is like just taking way too long. I do end up taking it out in the end, even with the shield disadvantage, so that's super good. Good games there, Jace Fan. These next battles are against Lualtinder. Here's a very favorable scenario for Wigglytuff. These charms are going to be hitting Drifblim for very strong neutral damage, and I am totally resisting the Hex damage. The Icy Wind really is not going to hit me for that much damage. Shadow Ball is totally going to be walled. So a very positive scenario for Wigglytuff. You can see he's running triple Ghost, Drifblim, Alolan Marowak, and Sableye. Now that Alolan Marowak, because of its fire typing, can be classified as a charm counter or a anti-charmer. But against Wigglytuff, it still is a favorable matchup, but not as favorable because you can't go straight Shadow Ball nuke. You just got to chip it down with Bone Club. And the charm damage, even though it's resisted, still really eats away. So again, another reason why I enjoy Wigglytuff is for the Alolan Marowak matchup. This is only going to be a Bone Club, so I let it go through. And I farm up just a little bit extra, and now I'm going to go for the Dragon Claw. I don't want to be hit by another Bone Club. Just enough to take out the Marowak. I know he still has that Drifblim. Out comes Sableye. I really wanted to hit the Blast Burn, but honestly, I should have just went for the Dragon Claw there. That's alright. Wigglytuff is going to go to town here. It's going to take out the Sableye and the Drifblim. I do shield this up. It's only the Icy Wind, so my charm is now reduced. But here's where having access to Ice Beam is really nice. It's going to hit Drifblim for super effective damage. Now I switch in my Medicham. Again, since I'm running Psycho Cut, I knew I was going to be able to get to this Ice Punch really fast. I'm assuming this is, yeah, it's only an Ominous Wind. If that was a Shadow Ball, it would have really hurt. Probably would have one-shotted me, honestly. I land the Ice Punch there. Sableye is going to come out and be able to farm me down, but I am going to be able to get off this Ice Punch. Dynamic Punch would be single resisted, because Ghost is immune to fighting, but Dark is weak to fighting. So Sableye is still going to be resisting those fighting type attacks, so Ice Punch is the way to go there. Power Gem is definitely the way to go on Wigglytuff, but you can see how much damage that charm does. Good game there, Lualtinder. Yeah, Wigglytuff is going to have great matchups against his Drifblim. I'm okay leaving it against the Clefable, against his Medicham definitely, and definitely against the Sableye. So here's a matchup that isn't the best for Wigglytuff. We talked about it. I switch out because my Sableye matchup against that is much better. I really love Sableye. The fact that you can beat the other ghosts is a really big selling point. You are going to be weak to Charm, but guess what? The other ghosts are also like taking strong damage from Charm. Other than Haunter, which has that poison typing, so it's going to be resisting it. But honestly, Haunter is so glassy, it's probably still going to be chipping away pretty hard. And I love the coverage that Sableye gets as well. His access to Power Gem can one-shot a Charizard. Very nice. And Foul Play, because it gets Stab because of its dark typing. Very strong move, and I'm actually able to take out Steelix there. Really good for me. In comes his own Sableye. It's going to be able to farm me down. Not ideal. But this is where Wigglytuff is really going to do great here. Going to be resisting everything that the Sableye throws at me other than the Power Gem. And now I have my Probopass locked against this Alola Marowak. I believe at this time I was running, yes, I'm running Spark Probopass. And after looking into the simulations, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Rock Throw Probopass wins out this matchup. Whereas the Spark Probopass doesn't necessarily win it out because of that Bone Club damage. So after these battles, I believe I switched my Probopass over to Rock Throw. But when I was using it in Fusion Cup, I was running Spark on it. So yeah, the Rock Throw damage in this matchup definitely would more solidify my victory there. But Sableye's in the back. This is an easy win for Wigglytuff. The charm damage is so insane. And my Wigglytuff really doesn't have the best IVs. But that's alright. It actually has, like, it might even hit a particular charm breakpoint, because I know its attack is actually somewhere kind of in the middle of its IV range. But who knows? I haven't looked into it that deep yet. This is a really bad matchup for Medicham. Totally a hard wall. Alola Marowak is just a complete wall to Medicham. But I was running Psycho Cut on it, so I was at least hitting for neutral damage there. I could possibly think about running Psychic on my Medicham instead of Ice Punch, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe even instead of Dynamic Punch. I don't know. That might be interesting. Because then at least in that Alola Marowak matchup, I wouldn't be completely walled. And I do really like having the Ice Punch for the flying coverage. But I'm pretty sure I would lose the Skarmory matchup if I get rid of Dynamic Punch. I don't know. Lots of things to consider. Alolan Marowak is going to be all over the place in the Rose Cup. And I know that it is a hard wall to my Medicham. So I'm just going to have to avoid that matchup. I'm really enjoying the Rose Cup so far. It doesn't feel as hard countery as Fusion did, and it doesn't seem as devastating if you lose the lead. I really like cups like that, where it allows you some flexibility to play out scenarios where you lose the lead, but you still have a chance to win the matchup. Again, this Alola Marowak is going to come in. Ice Punch is the way to go here because it's only single resisted versus Dynamic Punch being double resisted. So I bring in my Wigglytuff here because I'm going to resist the Ghost type moves. But the Fire Spin damage and the Bone Clubs are really going to add up here. I honestly should be committing some shields here because I need to win out this matchup. It's going to be very close. I'm letting this one go through as well, so I guess I'm saving both shields for Medicham. Man, I'm putting a lot of faith in my Medicham here. Oh my goodness. Hopefully going to get a shield with this Ice Beam. Nope, he lets it go through. So now that the Alola Marowak is off the table, my Medicham is more favorable. Never mind. He's got Clefable in the back, so this is absolute trash. He's going to be able to take this. Clefable, another really great option as a Charmer. Because of its soul or mono typing of Fairy, you are going to resist the fighters, versus Wigglytuff is going to be taking neutral damage. But the Ghost damage is going to be hitting you for neutral, versus Wigglytuff, you can resist that Ghost damage. So just some things to consider. This is a favorable matchup for Sableye because he beats all the other Ghosts, so I was expecting a switch out. In comes Clefable. I'm going to meet it with my Charizard. Charizard does resist the charm damage because of the fighting typing, but man, Charizard is still very glassy and charm hurts. I was trying to bait him with Dragon Claw there, but he does not take the bait. So at this point, I am going to have to commit a shield here if I want to solidly win out this matchup. I'm hoping that I can fire spin this Clefable down. Oh, just barely. Going to be dumping a Blast Burn into whatever comes back in. When you have this little health remaining on your Charizard, it's very difficult to do like back-to-back charge moves, like Dragon Claw and then straight into Blast Burn. Like you saw there, I wasn't able to even get off like another Dragon Claw. So I'm okay with this scenario. He is running Thunder Fang on his Steelix, which is something very interesting to consider. It's nice that you're going to be hitting super effective damage on the flyers like Charizard and Skarmory. However, I believe you don't have as solid matchups against like the other tanks if you don't have the energy generation of Dragon Tail. I need to look into some of those simulations some more. I know, or I'm pretty sure, you lose the Alolan Marowak matchup if you run Thunder Fang on your Steelix versus the Dragon Tail. You're able to get to the Earthquake a little bit faster and have a fighting chance at winning that. But so many things to consider in this Rose Cup. So still looking into the simulations, and I'm going to be studying hard over the next couple weeks. Wigglytuff is able to take that at the end there. Let me know what you guys think of Wigglytuff. If you want to be on my friends list and battle with me, head on over to my Patreon. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.